We are back on Inside Politics. Our guest today is Ralph Shulz, the president and CEO of the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce. Ralph, Governor Lee now says one of his biggest issues going into his second term is to do something about traffic congestion and infrastructure. Do you hear that same issue too?
Yeah, we've actually been hearing that conversation for several months. A lot more has now been unveiled by the state.
Well, the state unveiled this week these fast lanes that you would pay to get into. They would be run and operated by private companies under a deal with the state. Do you like that idea? That sounds a little bit like toll roads in a way.
Well, managed lanes, first of all, you know, the state has said all the lanes that are available are going to stay available. This is going to be an added option. Managed lanes like this are great utility in other places. They're a stopgap, but to be honest with you, over the long haul, some transit and transportation is going to have to be created. Mass transit is going to have to be created.
I didn't see any mention at all of mass transit anywhere, at least what with the details that were released so far. That may not be the entire plan.
And I would tell you that there's a strong orientation to mitigating the current congestion and intensity.
There's a lot of federal money in the bipartisan bill that was passed through Congress. The governor criticized that bill as being just too much federal spending, yet it could be another source of money for the kind of things he wants to do.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of popular support for infrastructure spending, and especially transportation spending. So I think, you know, the administration, the state is putting their shoulder down and figuring out the best way to spend it.
In Tennessee, we've always relied on the gas tax to build and keep up our roads, and we've not wanted to go into debt. But when you look at what's going on in the industry with the car companies, including those here in Tennessee, moving towards electric cars, are we going to have to rethink our whole model of how we keep up our roads?
Yeah, I think if we're going to continue to not borrow and not increase taxes, we've got to figure out a way that everyone can participate in funding those roads.
And so privatization is going to be a fact of life for that going forward, these kind of lanes that the governor's talking about having?
I think P3s, we've seen this for years. Public-private partnerships are good ways to make things happen.
I have two questions to talk to you that I asked you last year when you came on the program. First, what makes you smile about Nashville's future when you wake up every morning?
That's a great question. You know, I think what makes me smile is what a vital community this is, and the challenges that we have are manageable. So that's what makes me smile about Nashville.
Of those manageable problems or challenges that we have, what keeps you awake about Nashville's future?
There's no question, it's education. Education's the absolute foundation of people's prosperity, and we've got a ways to go to improve that to where we need it.
In terms of Nashville, metro elections are coming up for mayor, vice mayor, all 40 members of the council. What role will the chamber be playing in that this year?
You know, we're neutral in all these elections. The role that we're going to play with every candidate is we are visiting with all of the candidates, and we make them all the same offer. If there's information we can provide them, if there's insight we can provide them, we'll make that available. But the chamber's a neutral party in elections.
We've seen reports in the media that there are political PACs out there that give money to candidates and more or less an endorsement for that. That's not the chamber that we hear. We hear some people say, well, this is the chamber's PAC. They're not yours, or they're somewhat independent of you?
They're very independent of us. They're completely independent. You know, our chamber membership is so strong and so broad that when people form those public interest or community interest or PAC groups, there's inevitably going to be chamber members that are a part of it, but they're independent groups. The chamber can't create or can't operate PACs.
As we get ready to close, tourism continues to remain strong. We've talked about it a couple times here. What is it about Nashville that we need to keep fresh or new to keep people coming back here? I mean, sometimes people say, well, been there, done that. I got the T-shirt. I don't need to go back.
You know, the authenticity and the friendliness, that's what I hear from everybody first. Whether they're moving here or they're visiting here, what impresses people the most is how friendly Nashville is and how authentic the community is. That's what we need to make sure that we're continuing to possess.
So this idea that we have this party city image that's all over the place, Is that helping or hurting Nashville?
I'm going to tell you, based on what I hear from visitors, we need to tone it back a bit. But people do like the vitality. They do like the activity. They just feel it's gone beyond the appropriate level.
We hear people all the time complaining about all the buildings being torn down, not just residences, but commercial buildings. That we're losing the authenticity of Nashville you talk about. Do you share that fear as well?
I think there is some level of preservation that we always want to possess to maintain the character and the history of the city. But look, progress is progress. I mean, I was just at a gathering and heard John Lewis talked about how progress is so important for a community. You know, the community's going to continue to grow. We're not the fort we were in the earliest stages of the city. And that has worked to the benefit of so many in the community that have a prosperous future.
So you're from the chamber and you always have a positive outlook on whatever's going on in Nashville.
A positive outlook while acknowledging there are challenges to confront.
Ralph Shulz, thank you for talking with us. I suspect we'll have you back to talk further about the economy in Nashville in 2023.
Pat, thanks for having me.
And thank you for joining us on Inside Politics. I'll be back here again for a future show. If you can't get into politics in the meantime, you can go to Newsline of our website. You'll find my Capital News commentary there. I do commentary posted every Friday afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you here next time. Goodbye.